It might come out this month.
And away we go.
No matter what skills these opponents brought to the battle, no matter how many hits they landed on Godzilla, it's always only a matter of time till the big G-Man does what he does best. Sometimes it feels like the only thing that can defeat Godzilla is himself. And we almost got to see this battle back during the thunderous era of the Heisei Godzilla films. In this video, like our recent dives down memory lane, we will explore an unmade Godzilla movie that would have had the very first Godzilla ever from the original movie brought back from the dead, and this troubled spirit would have taken on Heisei Godzilla in an intense and wild battle that would have been like no other Godzilla had ever at that point.
Definitely Ghost.
This is the story of Godzilla versus Ghost Godzilla.
Yep. I remember hearing about this a while back. Like, if this was a thing in the franchise, we probably would have got a Ghost Godzilla in the MonsterVerse. Think about it. Legendary Godzilla versus Ghost Dagon, something like that. It would have been cool. It would have been cool, in my opinion, to see something like that in a comic book. You know, either a movie or like a comic book. But I might rather see something like that in the comic book, or like the comic books or books.
Real quick, if you like these trips down memory lane and want more videos on classic Godzilla, give this video a big old Kong-sized like. And let me know down in the comments that you want more Toho content. Back in the mid-1990s, the Heisei era was slowly coming to an end, and Toho needed to go out with a bang.
Send me out with a bang.
So Shogo Tomiyama, a producer for Toho at the time, aimed to create something that would pay homage to the original
Let's see what. Honestly, dude, I don't know. Like, if it was a thing, I don't know how he can kill something that's already dead. That's a good point, but I don't know.
Creature created way back in 1954. This is when the concept of Ghost Godzilla, which I'll refer to as Ghostzilla because it sounds better, was born. To pitch this idea, he created a short synopsis for the general idea for the story, but chose to focus more on describing this Ghostzilla and its curious set of abilities. Ghostzilla would have been derived from the restless spirit from the original Goji's death, awakened 40 years after the oxygen destroyer had taken its flesh. The lore behind the original Godzilla's death would have been adjusted to fit this new haunting idea. Instead of ripping all the oxygen out in the nearby areas, like what happened in the actual movie, leaving only a skeleton of Godzilla to remain on the ocean floor, the detonation would have somehow set off a sort of time-traveling explosion that would have caused an instantaneous 10,000-year time jump in just that vicinity. It's a little out there, I know, stick with me. This huge time jump would have instantly decayed all of Godzilla's remains, even the bones, leaving behind nothing. Or so it appeared that way. Turns out, this story would have had the original Godzilla's life energy being left behind, as an invisible spirit.
That sounds pretty damn cool. Like, really? Like, that sounds pretty damn nice. But yeah, you're right about that. 1954 is basically Kiryu, but that's, remember, the Millennium Era is its own timeline. Remember, like, all the franchises got its own timeline, so yeah. Yeah. But yeah, like the Millennium franchise is its own era, so we can't really, yeah, it is what it is.
Spirit of sorts, resting on the bottom of the ocean. Over the next 4 decades, this bioenergy would have slowly gathered together to form an unseen mass of Godzilla's consciousness. A conscious that craved to once again have a physical form in order to complete its mission that it started 40 years prior, to destroy Japan. The anger, fear, and hatred Godzilla had felt before succumbing to the oxygen destroyer was all that remained, creating a demon, a truly evil soul. After growing powerful enough to leave the ocean floor, the invisible spirit sought out a body that it could take over and continue its reign of terror. The first soul it chose to go after was none other than Godzilla Jr. Referred to in this story's draft as Little Godzilla for some reason. The juvenile Goji was unable to stop the restless spirit from taking control of his body. And just like that, Ghostzilla had finally found a way to come back into the living world. Now
So
the
basically, it would have been something like Junior been possessed by the original. Yo, that sounds pretty nice.
influx of sheer power into little Godzilla's body caused him to forcibly grow well beyond his body's natural limits. Allegedly, his skin would have split open like extreme stretch marks. And in a short amount of time, the spirit had mutated Godzilla Jr. to look more like the original Godzilla in appearance. Now with a new body and regained power, Ghostzilla was
sounds
officially alive
cool.
and kicking. The only thing it desired now was a stronger host. A host that would allow it to become a god.
So what he just said right now, let me guess. So he possessed Junior to get back into the living world, but now he's gonna want to possess Godzilla himself to become even stronger. Okay. Let me see. Let's see.
This was the original proposal that was left on the table for the minds at Toho to ponder upon. Then Kazuki Amori would create a draft of his own, making a few changes to deviate from the idea proposed by Tamiyama. In this draft, referred to as Godzilla vs. Godzilla, parentheses, story plan A, because, you know, I guess Godzilla vs.
Hey, yo,
Godzilla.
that would have been cool. That would have been nice though. To see something like that, that would have been nice.
It just sounded too clear and precise for a title, apparently. Sorry, Kazuki. And the title was not the only change to be made. Instead of using the absurd 10,000-year time jump idea, this draft kept the original skeletal remains idea that was seen at the end of Gojira. And the restless spirit only came into existence after its last remaining bone was disturbed. Now this time, Ghostzilla wouldn't be as vengeful, and would only cause terror in an attempt to reclaim its lost bone and last connection to Earth. Soon after, light from the Aurora Borealis would appear over the land, and Ghostzilla would somehow mix its life energy with this light and transform into Aurora Godzilla. You know, for a bunch of business dudes, these Toho guys are like out there. Using this new form, Aurora Ghost Godzilla would still proceed to take over Godzilla Jr.'s body and continue its rampage across Japan. Eventually, the real G-Man would have faced off against Ghostzilla, and as you would expect, our guy would be victorious. In the midst of the battle's climax, the surviving bone would have been destroyed, and the dust coming from the shattered bone would have mixed with the life energy that was now yet again without a host, and the combination of the physical bone remnants and the vengeful spirit would create another monster, Crystal Godzilla. I just want their head.
Wait. Yo, that would have been nice. Come on, man, that would have been nice. That really would have been nice.
We know you're hovering over that button, but we need your help.
That would have
We
been
have
nice.
a better button.
Like when I heard about that, it sounded goofy, but hearing it now, like hearing what could have been that movie, it sounds nice. It really, really do. In my opinion, it sounds real nice.
Promise. Right on top.
We don't know what would have come after Crystal Godzilla had formed, and we likely never will. Godzilla vs. Ghost Godzilla would go on to have multiple other drafts created by various creative minds, one of which would have even had Ghostzilla taking on our boy Anguirus and transforming him into a hybrid monster known as Godzirus. Sounds pretty badass, actually. But sadly, none of these ideas stuck, and this wild concept for a Godzilla film was ultimately thrown in the trash. Allegedly, this all came down to the Ghost Godzilla concept being too much like the previous two movies in the Godzilla Heisei era, fighting Mecha Godzilla and Space Godzilla. A third movie in a row with Godzilla fighting a variant of himself would have been just too much of more of the same. And this idea was scrapped in favor of Godzilla vs. Destroyer, which most of us can agree that that was a good idea. But unlike some of our previous videos where we've gone over
Godzilla versus Destroyer is nice. I love it, but at the same time, it'll been cool to see him fight a ghost version of himself. It would have been nice. It would have been nice.
These unmade Godzilla movies, I kind of feel like this one actually had a chance of, you know, succeeding in the box office and amongst the fans. I think it was simply a case of wrong place at the wrong time, more or less, as I do think the idea could have gone over.
And say what? Dangerfield just made something. He did? Alright, but I'm gonna check it out.
Well, with most fans, tell me what you think. But the idea did live on in a way, as it likely had some sort of inspiration in creating another fan favorite Godzilla movie, GMK.
I like
Where
GMK.
that Godzilla was a demon hell-bent on causing destruction to Japan.
Yeah, that's one thing about GMK. GMK he's a freaking menace. I mean, that dude have no remorse for anything. He killed, he killed all the creatures. Look, the most messed up part in that movie was when that part when that girl was inside the hospital room with a broken leg, and when he walked past the window and you thought she'd be saved just for his tail to basically kill her and stuff. I was like, wow. Wow, that was messed up. That dude was a complete demon in that movie.
And perhaps one day, this vengeful Ghostzilla spirit may yet again haunt our king of the monsters. So what do you think about this unmade Godzilla movie?
That was good. The idea of all that was nice. Yeah, you read GMK. No, GMK, he was something else. GMK was something else.